Portugal, though modest in size, wields an influence far beyond its borders. Have you ever considered how Portugal introduced the world to the mouth-watering sensation of barbecued chicken, the complex and rich flavors of port wine, and the extraordinary talent of Cristiano Ronaldo? These are just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the surprises this remarkable nation has in store. Despite its small stature, Portugal has made significant strides throughout history, from leading the charge during the Age of Exploration to making modern advancements in technology and culture. This tiny Iberian country has played a pivotal role in shaping the world we know today. Stick with us as we delve into captivating facts about Portugal that will undoubtedly astonish you. If you find these revelations intriguing, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to stay updated with more amazing content. Number 1 of the oldest nations in Europe. Did you know that Portugal holds the title of the oldest nation-state in Europe? Established in 1143, Portugal's borders were set in the mid-13th century, making it not only ancient in European terms, but also among the world's oldest nations. From as early as 1415, Portugal embarked on an ambitious journey of exploration and expansion. They spread their language and culture to 5 continents, extending their territories to the Azores and Madeira archipelagos, and even establishing colonies in Africa, East Timor, and India. In the 18th century, the Marquis of Pombal spearheaded educational reforms, laying the groundwork for a network of public primary schools across the country. However, the turbulent 19th century saw Portugal grappling with economic crises and political instability, hindering further progress in education. Fast forward to the 20th century, where Portugal saw shifts in power from monarchy to dictatorship. Antonio de Oliveira Salazar's regime, lasting until 1974, prioritized control over education, resulting in a lag behind European standards. But change was on the horizon. The Coronation Revolution of 1974 brought an end to dictatorship, paving the way for democracy and educational reform. Today, Portugal stands as a modern democratic state with a strong focus on education and cultural ties. By becoming a member of the European Economic Community in 1986 and adopting the euro in 1999, they achieved significant milestones towards their goal of global integration. These bold steps have helped them to collaborate with other nations and have opened doors to new opportunities for Portugal. Speaking of global connections, Portugal's commitment to its Portuguese-speaking counterparts led to the formation of the Community of Portuguese Language Countries, fostering cultural and economic ties across borders. And as we move forward, Portugal continues to invest in education with a focus on building a knowledge-based economy and reducing early school leaving rates. How do you find Portugal? Comment 1 if you like this country and 0 if you don't like it. Number 2. Lisbon's catastrophic earthquake. On the morning of November 1st, 1755, the city of Lisbon was rocked by a series of earthquakes. Buildings crumbled, streets cracked, and panic swept through the population like wildfire. But what makes this event stand out among all others in history? Well, brace yourselves because Lisbon suffered one of the world's largest natural disasters ever recorded. As the earth trembled beneath their feet, over 60,000 souls lost their lives in Lisbon alone. Can you imagine the sheer terror of being caught in such chaos? It wasn't just the initial tremors that brought destruction. The quake triggered something far more sinister. A tsunami, the trembling earth gave birth to towering waves, some reaching a staggering 65 feet in height. These walls of water crashed upon the shores of Lisbon and beyond, leaving devastation in their wake. But the reach of this catastrophe didn't stop there. The waves traveled across the vast expanse of the Atlantic Ocean, reaching as far as the Caribbean Sea. Can you imagine the shock of witnessing such a relentless force of nature thousands of miles away from its epicenter? In the aftermath, the city lay in ruins, its once bustling streets now silent. But amidst the rubble, a resilience emerged. The people of Lisbon, like phoenixes rising from the ashes, began to rebuild their shattered lives. Today, as we walk through the vibrant streets of Lisbon, it's easy to forget the trials of the past. But let's not forget the lessons it taught us. The Lisbon earthquake of 1755 remains a poignant reminder of the fragility of life and the awesome power of nature. The maximum prison sentence is 25 years. Did you know that in Portugal, the maximum prison sentence is capped at 25 years? according to the Portuguese Penal Code, no matter the severity of the crime. The longest someone can be imprisoned is a quarter of a century. Now you might be thinking, but what if someone commits multiple serious crimes? Well, even in the case of multiple offenses, such as homicides, the total combined sentence cannot exceed 25 years behind bars. Unlike some countries, Portugal has abolished the death penalty altogether, so you won't find any executions happening here. But why? What's the rationale behind these laws? Portugal places a strong emphasis on rehabilitation and the belief in the potential for individuals to change. Instead of locking people away for life or resorting to capital punishment, the focus is on reforming offenders and reintegrating them into society. It's a fascinating aspect of the Portuguese culture and justice system, wouldn't you agree? And it's a testament to the progressive values that shape the country. Number 4. Decriminalization of all drugs. Portugal has made history by becoming the first country in the world to decriminalize all drugs, including heavy hitters like methamphetamine and heroin. But wait, what does decriminalization really mean? Well, it doesn't mean that drugs are suddenly legal and freely available on every street corner. Instead, it means that drug possession for personal use is no longer considered a criminal offense. Picture the caught with a small amount of a controlled substance. Instead of facing jail time, you're now redirected towards treatment and support services. Back in the 90s, Portugal was grappling with a severe drug epidemic and a surge in HIV. Traditional approaches to drug control, like harsh penalties and incarceration, were simply not working. The government realized that they needed a radical shift by decriminalizing drug use. Portugal aimed to reduce the stigma associated with addiction, encourage people to seek help without fear of legal repercussions, and focus law enforcement efforts on tackling drug trafficking networks. And guess what? It worked. Today, Portugal has some of the lowest drug usage rates in the European Union. Yes, you heard that right. Despite initial skepticism, this innovative approach has proven to be a resounding success. It's not about turning a blind eye to drug use, but rather about treating it as a public health issue rather than a criminal one. Now you might be wondering, does this mean Portugal is a free-for-all when it comes to drugs? Absolutely not. Drug trafficking remains a serious criminal offense, and law enforcement agencies continue to crack down on illicit drug networks. It's all about finding the right balance between compassion and accountability. Number 5. First country to abolish slavery. When we think about the history of slavery, Portugal isn't usually the first country that comes to mind. Portugal was actually deeply involved in the transatlantic slave trade, much like Britain and other European powers of the time. However, in 1819, Portugal did something truly remarkable. They abolished slavery. That's a whopping 14 years before Britain. Now, isn't that something? You might be wondering why Portugal decided to abolish slavery so early. Well, there were a few factors at play. Firstly, there was growing pressure from other European nations to end the slave trade. Portugal, being a global player, wanted to maintain its reputation and avoid potential conflicts with other powers. Additionally, there were internal movements within Portugal advocating for the abolition of slavery, fueled by moral and ethical considerations. Portugal didn't just stop at abolishing slavery within its own borders. They took it a step further by actively working to suppress the slave trade in their colonies. This meant cracking down on illegal slave ships and actively enforcing anti-slavery laws in regions under Portuguese control. It was a bold move that set Portugal apart from other colonial powers of the time. Number 6. Portugal and Spain once divided up the world. You might have heard the myth that Portugal conquered half the world, but here's the truth. While Portugal and Spain didn't conquer half the world, they did something quite extraordinary. Back in 1494, they signed a significant agreement known as the Treaty of Tordesillas. This treaty, approved by the Vatican, was a big deal. It was like drawing a giant line across the globe, dividing up the navigational and colonial rights between these two seafaring nations. Picture diplomats sitting around a table debating where to draw this line. Eventually, they settled on one approximately along the 25 AW meridian. That's roughly smack dab between Cape Verde and Cuba. So what did this line mean? Well, it was supposed to be like a boundary separating Portugal's sphere of influence from Spain's. Portugal got one side, Spain got the other. Neat and tidy, right? While Portugal and Spain were busy patting themselves on the back for this agreement, other countries weren't exactly lining up to congratulate them. Nope, countries like England and the Netherlands, notably Protestant nations, basically shrugged and said, "Hey, we'll do our own thing." Yep, while Portugal and Spain were carving up the world on paper, other emerging naval powers were out there doing their own. So while the Treaty of Tordesillas was a big deal for Portugal and Spain, it didn't really mean much to everyone else. Number 10, the longest dictatorship in Europe. Portugal holds a unique record in Europe, the longest-lasting dictatorship, lasting a staggering 48 years from 1926 to 1974. This period was dominated by the rule of Antonio de Oliveira Salazar, a figure whose influence shaped the country for decades. Salazar's rule was marked by a staunch nationalistic conservatism, heavily influenced by Catholicism. Under his leadership, Portugal saw the rise of what's known as the Estado Novo, or the new state. The dictatorship in Portugal unfolded in three distinct phases. It began as a military dictatorship known as Ditadura Militar from 1926 to 1928. This phase was characterized by the military's grip on power. Then came the national dictatorship, or Ditadura Nacional, lasting from 1928 to 1933. During this period, Salazar consolidated his power and implemented his vision for Portugal. Finally, we have the Estado Novo from 1933 to 1974, the longest and most enduring phase of the dictatorship. This era saw Portugal under Salazar's iron grip, with strict censorship and limited political freedoms. But as they say, all good, or in this case, not so good things must come to an end. And so it did with a remarkable event known as the Coronation Revolution on April 25, 1974. This peaceful uprising, symbolized by the distribution of carnations among the people and soldiers, marked the end of the dictatorship. Every year on April 25th, Portugal celebrates Freedom Day, or Dia de Liberdade, commemorating the country's transition to democracy. It's a reminder of the resilience of the Portuguese people and their journey towards freedom and democracy. Number A. Portugal introduced tea to England. Our story begins in 1662 when Catherine of Braganza, a Portuguese princess, married Charles EI of England. Little did the English know they were about to welcome more than just royalty into their lives. Catherine brought with her a beloved beverage from Portugal, tea. Now, tea wasn't entirely unknown in England at the time, but it was Catherine's fondness for this aromatic infusion that truly sparked a revolution. Coming from a culture where tea was a staple, Catherine introduced it to the English court, and it quickly became the talk of the town. Imagine the scene, ladies in extravagant gowns delicately sipping tea, discussing the latest gossip and politics. Catherine's influence was undeniable, and soon tea became more than just a beverage. It became a symbol of elegance and sophistication. But Catherine's impact didn't stop there. Her love for tea spread like wildfire, captivating not only the elite but also the common folk. It wasn't long before tea houses popped up across England, offering everyone a taste of this newfound luxury. Number 9, a staggering number of Portuguese live abroad. Did you know that Portugal holds the title for the highest immigration rate in the European Union? Over 2 million Portuguese citizens, which is roughly 20 of the entire population, have decided to call other countries home. That's a massive number, isn't it? But why are so many Portuguese leaving their homeland? Well, it's all about seeking better opportunities. Between 2011 and 2014 alone, nearly 500,000 Portuguese workers waved goodbye to Portugal in pursuit of a brighter future elsewhere. One such destination that has become a significant hub for the Portuguese diaspora is Luxembourg. In 2021, this tiny yet prosperous country hosted close to 100,000 Portuguese residents. That's a whopping 14.5 Luxembourg's entire population. More than 2 million Portuguese citizens now reside abroad, but here's the kicker. If we include the descendants of these immigrants, the total population with Portuguese origins in host countries balloons to over 5 million. That's a staggering 48% of the population residing in Portugal itself. It's a testament to the dynamic and resilient nature of the Portuguese people. Despite leaving their homeland, they've made their mark around the world, contributing to the rich tapestry of global culture and society. Number 2 is famous for its tiles. Portuguese tiles, known as azulejos, are not just your average ceramic squares. Oh no, they are an integral part of Portugal's history and culture. Dating back to the 13th century, these stunning tiles were first introduced by the Arabs during their invasion. But it wasn't until the time of King D. Manuel I that they truly made their mark. Legend has it that King D. Manuel I was so captivated by the brilliance of Seville's tiles that he imported them to adorn his palace walls, thus igniting Portugal's love affair with azulejos. And boy did they become popular. Almost every building in Portugal boasts these intricate designs, each telling its own unique story. Now, you might be wondering about the striking blue and white combination that dominates Portuguese tiles. Well, during the Age of Discoveries, these colors were all the rage, associated with wealth and power. They became synonymous with Portugal's maritime prowess, influenced by Oriental porcelain and Dutch aesthetics. These tiles became a hallmark of Portuguese architecture, crafted with precision and care. Portuguese tiles undergo a meticulous process. From shaping and painting to glazing and baking, each tile is a work of art in itself. To preserve this rich tradition, Portugal even boasts its own dedicated museum, the National Tile, initially confined to the interiors of wealthy homes and religious institutions. These tiles eventually found their way onto the facades of buildings, transforming Portugal's urban landscape. Whether adorning a humble abode or a majestic cathedral, each tile tells a story, reflecting the creativity and craftsmanship of its creators. So there you have it. Folks, from humble beginnings to intricate masterpieces, these tiles have truly stood the test of time. Perfections have varied. However, Portugal is still a beautiful country for us to explore and travel. Portugal is a fantastic travel destination with a perfect blend of rich history and stunning natural beauty. Your journey could start in Lisbon, the capital city renowned for its mix of modern and classic charm, strolling through vibrant neighborhoods like Bairro Alto and Chiado. You'll be captivated by lively bars, unique shops, and elegant restaurants. Don't miss iconic landmarks such as the Belém Tower and the Jerónimos Monastery, where you can marvel at stunning architecture and savor pastéis de nata, Lisbon's famous custard tarts. From Lisbon, you can head to Porto, a city on the Douro River known for its famous landmarks like the Dom Luiz I Bridge and the charming Ribeira district. Porto is celebrated not only for its port wine but also for its picturesque urban landscapes. Visiting the wine cellars and enjoying tasting sessions will offer you unforgettable experiences. Alongside, indulge in local cuisine at riverside restaurants, where you can try fresh seafood dishes like bacalhau, a gomes de sei salt code baked with potatoes, and francinha, a hearty meat sandwich smothered in tomato sauce. Continue your journey to Sintra, where romance and mystery blend in architectural marvels like the colorful Palacio de Peña and the enchanting Quinta de Regaleira with its hidden gardens and caves. Exploring the Sintra Cascades Natural Park with its beautiful trails and dramatic landscapes will make you feel like you've stepped into a fairy tale. While you're there, sample regional desserts such as queijada, cheese tarts, and travesseiro flaky pastries, which will add a delicious touch to your culinary adventure. If you're seeking mild weather and impressive landscapes, Madeira is your ideal destination. Funchal, Madeira's capital, stands out with its Madeira Botanical Garden, where you can explore diverse plant species and stunning gardens. The Mercado dos Lavradores market is a great place to shop for local products and taste traditional dishes. Madeira wine is a highlight, and you should enjoy local specialties like espetada grilled meat skewers and bolo do caco gutter bread. Don't miss Algarve, known for its beautiful beaches like Praia da Marinha and Praia do Amado, where you can relax under the sun and engage in outdoor activities. The city of Lagos not only offers beautiful beaches, but also historical sites like the Lagos Fortress and the Santo Antonio Church, providing insights into the region's past. While in Algarve, try fresh seafood dishes such as cataplana de marisco seafood, stew cooked in a copper pot, and amejoas, a bolhao pato clams with garlic and herbs. Finally, explore Evora, a historic city with Roman ruins like the Temple of Diana and the Evora Cathedral. The ancient streets and unique architecture of Evora will transport you back in time, giving you a deeper understanding of Portugal's rich cultural heritage. Throughout your trip, don't forget to enjoy traditional dishes such as bacalhau, salt cod, caldo verde green soup, and other delightful desserts like pudim flan and pastéis de nata. Each destination in Portugal offers memorable experiences and unforgettable moments, making your trip both rich and enjoyable. As we wrap up our journey through these 12 shocking things about Portugal, it's clear that this incredible country has so much more to offer than meets the eye. From its historical marvels and unique cultural practices to its breathtaking landscapes and culinary delights, Portugal is a destination that promises to captivate and amaze. Whether you're drawn to its vibrant cities like Lisbon and Porto, enchanted by the scenic beauty of Madeira and the Algarve, or eager to delve into its rich historical tapestry, Portugal is truly a place worth visiting. So why wait? Pack your bags and come experience the wonders of Portugal for yourself. Discover its hidden gems, taste its delicious food, and immerse yourself in its warm and welcoming culture. If you enjoyed this video and found these facts about Portugal as fascinating as we do, make sure to give us a thumbs up, share this with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more incredible travel insights and amazing content. Your adventure awaits, and we can't wait to bring you along for the next journey. See you in the next video.